Abstract Outside, where ideas like trade, thought find depth, and every conversation explores the art of thinking beyond the obvious. And today I have my special guest. Well, one of her advocacy teaching faith healing, or her advocacy teaching her faith healing of the word and the Holy Spirit boldness. And of course, spiritual girl on fire, none other than Miss Kathleen Johnson.
Hello.
Welcome, Miss Kathleen on Abstract Essay. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I missed?
No, it was wonderful. And thank you so much for having me. It's a huge opportunity. I am an author and speaker who is very passionate about connecting people with the power of God to heal, to transform, to redeem, and all the wonderful ways we can be transformed by the renewing of the mind. Something that has been true in my own life that I cannot wait to speak about to others. So, huge opportunity to be here today. Thank you.
Yes, and Miss Kathleen, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. Thank you, thank you. And today let's talk about heal to heal, how your breakthrough becomes someone else's miracle. The title of our topic is so powerful: sequence, heal to heal. What is the critical, often overlooked stage of integration or maturation that occur between receiving your own healing and being ready authentically facilitate healing for others?
Well, it's a good question. I think that we need to realize that we are meant to be flow through vessels, that we
Just go ahead. People, we have disconnection with Miss Kathleen.
sorry, it looks
Mm,
like it finally came back. Sorry about that.
No worries at
But
all.
I was just saying, in response to your,
Go ahead.
sorry
Go
about
ahead,
that.
Miss Kathleen.
Yes, in
No
response
worries.
to your question, I believe that everything that we go through in life has the potential, if we respond in the right way, to be a catalyst for somebody else's breakthrough. We have trials, we have suffering, but if we respond in the right way, we can take what we've learned and share that. If I've been through a certain kind of struggle, I'm going to be the person that somebody who's had a similar struggle will listen to. And so we are not meant to be stagnant. We are meant to be like a flow through vessel of God's power and healing. And so when we experience something, it is when we share it that we continue to stay in that healing. And also, we are refreshed when we refresh others. Those who help others will help. And so I believe that the word makes it clear that we are overcome by the power of our testimony, and that let the redeemed of the Lord tell their story. That's something that we're all called to do.
How do you distinguish between sharing a testimony from a place of ego or closure and offering a story from a place of ongoing vulnerability and creates a genuine space for someone else's miracle?
Well, I don't know if I would necessarily say that you distinguish that. I just think that when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, it's not possible to love without vulnerability. And when we are transparent and we're not trying to project a false self, that will naturally connect with others. When I'm sharing something from my heart, Daniel, it
Mm-hmm.
connect with others because that's a spiritual thing. We are spiritual beings first and foremost. And so when I share something that I've experienced from the heart and it's genuine and it's transparent, people recognize that. And that is the thing that they will connect with more than something that I'm trying to stage or I'm trying to uh, convince. It's something that's spoken from the heart that other people can see and resonate with.
From the heart for sure. And Miss Kathleen, the concept implies that our deepest wounds become our greatest areas of authority. How does one learn wield that authority with humanity and empathy rather than from a place of unresolved pain or severism?
Well, I think each one of us has the capacity to be taught by the Lord or to be taught by our Creator and to connect with the Spirit. And as we do that, we realize we have a certain agency that we've been given, and that we don't have to be afraid of who we are. And that it is as we are started to realize that comes forth in our lives. We are, I always say, we're either withering off the vine, like in separation from God, or we are acting as branches on the vine. And if I think of myself as being separated from my creator, from my God, I will experience the result of that. I will feel disconnected. I will feel like I'm on my own. The self reliance that is replaced by God reliance is one that is transformed. It is a life of living water, being filled to the measure with all the fullness of God, knowing that you have the same power that raised Jesus Christ from the dead in and through you. And that's something that when you start to realize it in your mind and in your heart, you start to experience it as well. It becomes a real, tangible energy, a life substance. The living water is real.
The living water, and well, for sure. The concept implies that in our culture, we often celebrate the self made breakthrough. How this philosophy recenter our understanding of healing as a communal, interconnected process.
Well, that's just it. I mean, I think there's a secular idea of self-made that is one person that's operating apart from God and just, the exaltation of man. But I don't believe that that ever ultimately brings the kind of purpose and fulfillment that each one of us are meant to experience. But only when we're connected to God and we realize that there is something higher than us. Unlike some of the world religions that say the self is completely dissolved or erased, I think, I believe what Christianity teaches is that God redeems the self, that when we realize we have a connection with Him, it is then that we become the most expressive and successful version of ourselves. Like He takes the self that we give back to Him and redeems it. So it is when I give my life that I actually find it. It's when I am serving mankind. That's when I find the greatest fulfillment in life and vitality and strength, because I'm accomplishing my purpose here. And God is expressing Himself in and through me. And it is a wonderful feeling of joy. It's just like Jesus said, I've told you these things so that my joy can be in you and your joy can be complete. What things? He was saying, I am the branch, you are the,
Divine.
we are
Divine.
the branch on the vine. We understand
Yes.
that we experience it.
Mm-hmm. Interesting, Miss Kathleen. So let's talk about on the personal journey and readiness. What are the signs that someone is not yet ready to step into the heal role and is instead kissing re-traumatization or projecting their own unfinished work on the others?
Well, I think somebody has to come to the realization that God is not withholding healing from them, that it is not something that is crossed out and not available to them. I tell people, and I believe that we make a decision to believe, that it is the decision to believe that healing can be for us that actually activates something biologically. It activates our reticular activating system. So now, I am choosing to believe this. As long as I have blocks that, maybe God doesn't want to do this, or maybe that's impossible. That's all it takes for us to be, for that to be blocked for us. But as we start to believe, it's just like the word says, all things are possible for one who believes. So the person that has not opened themselves to that is absolutely going to be right outside that.
Yes, to activate. Oh, we like that, Miss Kathleen. A breakthrough can feel complete, but healing often ongoing. How do you carry and acknowledge your own continuing journey while holding space for someone else without undermining their hope in your guidance?
Well, I think I would say that it's important to remain surrendered to God and to ask for His guidance in how to minister to other people, because each person is on their own individual journey, and people come to levels of knowledge, right? As it's unique for each person. And in my book, I follow the lives of many people that connected with healing, but they all did it in unique ways. And so each person is selected so that maybe that person reading can identify with this person here who had to get past their analytical minds, or this person over here who had to realize that God wanted them well. And so as these blocks were removed, they were connected with healing. But I think anybody who receives healing in order for them to maintain that, they have to be open to letting that healing flow through them to others and never become stagnant, never become self-centered, but always willing to share what they have learned with others in a way that lifts the other person up and brings them life and vitality and strength.
On the process of passing it on, Miss Kathleen, what is the practical handoff from breakthrough to miracle look like? Is it conscious mentorship, unconscious modeling, or simply creating a resources you needed but could not find?
Well, can you ask me that question one more time? I just want to make sure I understand.
Yes. So, what does a practical handoff from breakthrough to miracle look like? Is it unconscious mentorship, unconscious modeling, or simply creating a resources you needed but could not find?
Well, I think each person has to realize that I am being changed by what I expose myself to. And so, whatever I yield myself to, faith comes from hearing and hearing from the word of Christ. But if I want healing, if I want to grow and expand and, do these things, I have to be consciously aware of what I'm thinking about and what I'm giving my attention to, Daniel, because I believe that whatever I give my attention to, that's the thing that ultimately has me. And so many times I think when we go through struggles, we end up magnifying the difficulty because we're staring at it, we're looking at it, we end up exalting the problem instead of exalting the potential solution. So where am I placing my focus? Where, what am I giving myself to? Because and realizing that that's changing me from moment to moment every single day.
Empowering answer and interesting as well, Miss Kathleen. So, how do you navigate the delicate balance of offering hope and proof that also honoring the another person's path and a miracle may look entirely different from your own?
Yeah, I think that that's so important to do because it can be offensive to somebody who is walking through a struggle to even see somebody else that's had breakthrough. Sometimes that can feel like more discouraging than anything else because a lot of people are walking through, an apparent contradiction. And I know for me, when I believed in the potential of my own healing, but I wasn't experiencing it, that was super difficult. And it would be easy for me to be discouraged when somebody else said, "Oh, it's just easy. You just have to believe. You just have to do this. You just have to do that." But each person has to realize that we are complex beings and it can be the slightest lie or the slightest thing that we believe that could be holding us back. And just to be open to others and realize, hey, wherever you are in your journey, the point is not to bring condemnation or judgment or saying you have to believe in another way, but to give you hope because you can look hopefully at the lives of others who have had breakthrough and realize there might be something there for you. There might be something that can help you expand your awareness in a way that can take you to the next level. Each one of us, again, we're on different journeys, but we all learn from other people's testimonies. And so it's so powerful when we can share those with others.
Miss Kathleen, a key part of this is relatability. And how do you maintain authentic connection to avoid creating a pedestal or unintentional power dynamic with someone who see you as a healed?
Yeah. Well, I think when we realize that we're all created in the image of God and we have that in common, we are spiritual beings that are meant to thrive, that are meant to flourish. And if we can hesitate from pronouncing judgment over another life, but in just shining our light. In other words, I should be somebody who speaks truth and light and healing with love. It's speaking the truth in love. I'm speaking something that I've experienced in my own life, but doing it with compassion and not with judgment or criticism. And just hopefully showcasing something hopeful for somebody else saying, hey, don't give up on your healing. Don't give up on these things. There is a future hope for you and it cannot be cut off. And giving people that encouragement can be powerful.
Yes, people don't lose hope because hope is always in the corner. Grab it. So, what is the role of boundaries in this work? How do you give from your scar, not your wound, and protect your own energy while being a consistent source of support?
Well, I think it's important to know what you believe, to be ready to give an answer about the faith that you have and why you have it, and to constantly be open to learning from other people and from what their lives and their testimonies can teach you, and not becoming so sort of pigeonholed into some one interpretation. You know, modern medicine is catching up with a lot of things that I believe that ancient wisdom taught us a long time ago. Things like heart coherence. The word tells us, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Well, there was a time when mankind thought, no, that was just an ancient misunderstanding. They didn't understand that the brain was the most important thing. Well, no, they have found out that the heart gives the brain more messages than the brain gives to the heart, and the heart is central. And so being open to the things that we can learn from science and also from God's ancient wisdom that he's showing us, and see how we can learn and grow and our lives can impact others. Being flexible in that.
Be flexible, people, and empower people other, so that you will be uplifted by God on challenges and sacred responsibility. Miss Kathleen, what do you do when you encounter someone whose situation mirrors your past pain, but they are not ready for willing to receive help? How do you manage a frustration or urgency to fix them?
Well, I think it's important to be self aware that everybody doesn't receive at the same level or at the same time, and just try to be, in the moment with that person, to give them encouragement, to pray for them, to follow up with them. But we're never trying to force any certain interpretation or idea down somebody's throat. That doesn't work. The idea is to just take them, maybe give them a kernel of hope, or just sow some seed. And it can be, and I've seen this happen in the past with other things, that somebody can't hear a truth, but then something happens in their life later on where that then becomes enlightened to them. They're like, oh, that's what it meant. So just like us, we can read the same book a year later or see the same information at a different time in our life, and it hits us different. So I think as we are just compassionate to share what we've learned and pray that God will be the one that brings the increase and that he brings the harvest at the proper time.
Hmm. And Miss Kathleen, the risk of healing hierarchy forming. How do we do prevent a community built on this idea from subtly valuing certain types of breakthrough over others, or creating pressure to perform one healed status?
Well, I think it's going back to the idea that we are all, that we share the humanity, to being created in the image of God, and that we all are growing in various ways, in different ways, and that there isn't any one type of healing that is going to be all encompassing, that's going to always work for people. We're such individuals, and we should approach things like that, but with the higher truth. And I like to look at it like this: whatever we're doing in life, we should compare that to the words of Jesus. All things are possible for one who believes. And so I think if we can step back away from these rigid interpretations and say, wait a minute, am I limiting myself by what I believe in this one category or this category? And if I step back away from that and say, is there a higher thing from that lens? I think that so often we get stuck in our analytical minds, and that even though that's a wonderful gift from God that we have, in my mind, that was never meant to be the leader. The leader is the spiritual connection, which is not limited by time or space, but is beyond that. And so if we can start, backing up and saying, there's more here, let's not get stuck in the foreign interpretation.
When you witness someone else's miracle that is sprung from your story, is there a danger of taking credit or feeling a sense of ownership over the journey? How do you stay in a place where gratitude and reverence instead?
Yeah, I mean, that's so well said. There are so many people that I've studied throughout history, and even somebody in the book that ended up falling prey to the pride of that, of being the one that took the glory instead of giving the glory to God. So I think that that is a danger for anybody that operates, in the spiritual realm or through spiritual gifts. And that if we do not stay grounded, if we do not keep that part of ourselves connected to God, we are going to end up crashing and burning. Pride goes before a fall. And so it is important that every day, as Jesus said, whoever wants to be my disciple must deny self, take up their cross, and follow me. So it's me remembering who I am. I am, a child of God, and that I'm not meant to be the one who gets the glory, but that should all go to God.
Empowering answer, Miss Kathleen. How do you handle it when your own old pain unexpectedly triggered while you are in the midst of supporting someone else? What is the protocol of self care in that moment?
Well, I think it's going back to the vine and, going back to the vine and making sure that that's where your life and vitality is. I've told the story more than once that when I received my healing, at first I started having some, relapses of that. And I had to really be confronted with that. Like, do I really believe in this? There was a part of me that was saying this wasn't real. It won't stick. It'll never work. And I had to stand on what I believed was my healing and become firm in that. And since then, have had a wonderful experience where I haven't had those relapses, but that doesn't mean that I won't at some point. I think it's just like the word says, we have to hold unswervingly to the hope we possess. We have to make a decision and stand on that and say, no matter what comes against me, I'm not giving up on this belief in healing. I'm not giving up on my breakthrough, and I will do my best to minister to others during that time, but I will not cave to unbelief. I will drive those things out just like Jesus expelled the money changers from the temple. And we can do that.
Beyond one on one interactions, how can these heal to heal principle inform how we will organizations create content or design system that are trauma form and generative?
Well, beyond the one-on-one, I think it can happen in groups. I think it can happen in communities. I think that there can be a ripple effect that happens from any one life. In just anytime they show up, they're impacting others. Their daily life has the potential to be a witness to those people around them. So even if they're not, witnessing to somebody one-on-one, by the way they get up and live their life and walk in their own healing, they're being a testimony just in that. And so if when I am somebody who says, I am going to believe in life and vitality and strength, and I'm going to walk that out, hey, that's a witness. That's its own light.
Yes, definitely. And it's hard. This is about turning pain into purpose. What are the traps of pain identity that how do we measure the purpose becomes larger than original pain?
Well, I think it's in an outward expression. It's the difference between me being super self focused and it's me, me, me. It's like my life, what's going on with me, and being willing to look outward and realize again that that's what we're created to be. As I get my focus off of myself and onto others, that all by itself is healing. Because so many times we do that to ourselves, or our self focus becomes a self imposed prison. So, just by taking my focus off of my own problems and looking to somebody else that could use encouragement or something that I can offer them to help them, by lifting others, I lift myself. And just that one simple thing can be powerful for anybody that's going through a struggle today. Hey, look around you and see if there's somebody that could use a word of encouragement. And when you do that, you might quickly find that your troubles don't look so rough anymore.
Miss Kathleen, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season. Abstract Poetry in second season, and my Book 101 review is sixth season this year. Comedy 101 in its third season, and Food 101 is sixth season as well. Geography 101, Love Letters, Movie 101 review, Music 101, a fourth season. Science 101, Sex 101 is it in a second season, and My Baby podcast, Mental Health 101, Law 101, Bible Verses 101, Entrepreneurship 101, and Motivation 101. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Miss Kathleen, if the core message of your book could be felt as a single truth in the heart of someone who is still waiting for their breakthrough, what would you want the feeling to be?
I would just tell them that their healing miracle isn't the end of the story. It has the potential to be just the beginning. Like that thing that they're waiting for, hey, they're going to have their breakthrough. And then that breakthrough is going to be something that changes the lives of so many others. And it's something they can get excited about and expect from God.
Yes, definitely. And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Miss Kathleen. And inviting you to be my guest on Bible Verses 101. And let's listen to your favorite verses in the Bible.
You want me to give you one?
Yes, please.
Sure. I love Isaiah 26:3. You keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on you because he trusts in you. And that verse shows us, Daniel, that as we focus on God, we can be in a place of perfect peace. There's so many others, but I love God's word.
Yes. Yes, please do come over. I will invite you and looking forward for our second episode. And please do invite our listeners to support your books, your advocacy, or whatever projects that they're doing right now.
Thank you so much. God bless.
Yeah, so where do people can reach you, Miss Kathleen?
They can go to KathleenJohnsonMinistries.com. Thank you so much.
Yes, and where do people buy your books?
They can go to heal2heal.com for that.
Yes, people, let's support Miss Kathleen because if you support her for sure, more and more empowering books, more empowering advocacy like this to rise. So, Miss Kathleen, thank you so much for your time.
All right. Thank you so much. God bless.
Monica, people, see you soon.